Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of your lovely Babylon Balkan Show.
Yes, welcome everybody. And today we will have another episode with another really interesting topic, with another really interesting guest. Today's guest is, as you don't know from the title, is Lekë Berisha, uh, 25 years old engineer from Peja region, Kosovo. Uh, he's a surveying engineer. Uh, Also have a bachelor in Kosovo. Currently living in Germany.
Yep.
Um,
And
yeah, it is. We have like some questions about his not related with his profession, but Dushan will explain more. It is really interesting topic for me to dig more.
Mm, the topic itself, correct, is really unique to say the least. It's concerning the Albanian culture in general, especially how it is in his region of Kosovo, so the western part, and also considering the adherent regions so the close regions to this one, North Albania, and also to some extent some parts of, of Montenegro. This thing that we're gonna cover is named Kanun or Kanun Codex. It's it's gonna be really insightful in a sense that for me personally, I didn't know about its existence, and I thought I knew everything about Balkan cultures there. It's more like some traditional customary laws that exist that are not like part of the legal system itself, but exist as a tradition, and there are lots of people that follow it. And he himself knows quite a lot about it, although he is young. Still, he is following this kanun, this set of laws, and he's really knowledgeable in this area. That's why we have invited him here to share his opinion about it. And besides this, he's a really cool guy and funny guy, and
Yeah.
he can cover this in many different waves. So we are really looking forward to this episode. And plus, we're going to most likely do some spin offs or some spillovers actually into some other side topics, as we always do. So stay tuned to us, to this episode, and enjoy. And
Yes.
plus, sorry, just 1 second more. A disclaimer: we know that the region, so to say, or the place where he comes from, is a hot topic for itself. So there's some people, some countries that agree with the terminology of how we should name this place where he comes from. So since we are hosting this show, we are being neutral here. We respect our guests, whatever he thinks about the country, the place, the region where he comes from. It's his opinion. We support him in that sense. We don't choose sides. We're totally neutral. With the point of this episode is to have fun, to discover more about Albanian culture, especially in this region, and to enjoy.
Yeah, we are not judging for anyone's opinion, but we are only judging our audience for who's not liking our episodes, who's not putting any comment, who's not subscribing. We are judging you.
Yep.
Uh, no, joking, but please do,
Yeah.
and please, yeah, please
Yeah.
contribute
Yeah.
and enjoy
As
the episode.
Correct. As Anna said, it really makes a lot, makes a big difference to continue our work when you interact with our episodes. Subscribe, like, click, share, everything. Yeah, it doesn't cost a lot. It actually costs nothing. It's just one click and that's it, or multiple
Yeah,
of them. But it's quite easy, and yeah. So once again, enjoy the episode and please share your opinion afterwards. So
yeah.
without further ado, let's start.
Let's go.
And look at us, we are back again.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
We have our latest guest today, Lek, right? Can I pronounce it correctly?
Close enough.
Close enough. Okay. Do you know that it means in Slavic, so Serbo-Croatian, it means the cure?
I have heard it back in Ohrid this year actually.
Ah,
That
nice.
was an eye opener. Why the people like me that much?
It can be. So, the thing we do with our guests at the beginning, we start with icebreakers, and usually Onat is the first one. So, Onat, could you please?
Okay. Actually, by the way, I am happy because I was the person most of the time having the problem with the pronunciation of the names in the previous
Okay.
episode. So this time Dushan also joined me.
Yeah, it's not Slavic, so yeah, not my cup of tea.
Yeah. So in this part of the episode, I'm asking some tough questions.
Great tough.
And my question is, what is your first memory as a child?
My first memory as a child is oh
Please don't
that's
mention bombs.
no, it's a hard question actually because sometimes it occurs to me that I remember something even back even earlier, and then I think like did I imagine that to myself or was it first memory? I would say the first thing I remember was my me playing in a garden. Actually, it was me playing in a garden, my village, back in my village.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Do you know specifically what did you play, or just that you were in the garden?
I was the only child around, so I had to come up with something. And I remember that the grass was very high. Not like in the savannah, but for a normal garden, it was a bit high. And I remember like just running around and searching for anything that could be interesting somehow to me that appealed at the back at that time. And I remember there were a lot of flowers for a normal garden back then.
You remember quite a lot of details.
There is also one memory which I'm not sure if I really memorize it or is it just because I saw the photos. It's my first beer. Yeah.
So was the Peja beer?
No, my first one was actually it was a Tirana beer, I think. It was back in Albania, was it?
So just for our audience, we don't support when children drink alcohol. It's just your thing. It's your past. So
no,
Yeah.
it's
it's
But
okay.
these
apparently
photos are
our
publicly
parents
available.
What on it?
But apparently our parents does because in every kid in the Balkans have the picture with the alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually with their faces. We're all like, oh no, this was disgusting. And they're all like laughing, having a good time. Parents around it and old people. Typical. From my side, I usually ask this question and I find it still okay. I don't want to change it for now. The question is, when you were little, what did you want to be as you were growing up?
Well, as I was little, I kind of was in between things. At some point, I wanted to be an architect, and at some point, I even imagined myself as in the medicine. With a part of medicine, I didn't go with that path. Architecture also not because well, I was good at math, so. And I became an engineer, which I actually like now more than if I have chosen something else.
Mm-hmm. So you're satisfied with your choice. You didn't want to. Yeah, you don't regret anything.
No, not at this point, but that can come.
That's good. So this was our first part. So now we can continue with the main thing with our episode, which is not clearly defined, but still we will go and reach our end goal somehow. But first thing first, could you tell for our audience your Balkan origin backstory, or like who you are, where you come from? We already did the introduction about you, but like how would you describe yourself?
Well, I would say I'm pretty typical for a guy my age from the western part of Kosovo. Um, I did finish my the high school in my in the local gymnasium in Peja,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that I studied in Pristina for geodesy and geoinformatics. Grew up most of the part in the rural part of the municipality of Peja, in a bit more, let's say, in a place where times goes by a bit slower.
Mm.
And yeah, that's a backstory of me, of
Yeah.
my main language, Albanian, so, and then Germany right after.
Mm.
English, actually, I started learning English a bit later, which can be heard of now because of my bit of accent. I think I have.
We all have it. We come from the Balkans. Come on.
Yeah, it's you cannot escape it.
Yeah. As Dubioza Collective says in their song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that would be a short description of me, and actually enough of a description in the part.
Quite enough for audience to understand who you are and a bit of your backstory. As you mentioned, you come from the western part of Kosovo, which for our audience to know, and from my personal interpretation, is like it's also mountainous part, but people there are more like traditional, if I'm right, and they're more stick to their culture, to say, stick to their guns. So there's a thing which I'm really curious about, and Little Birdie told me that you're really into this topic. It's called Kanun. Am I saying it correct? So could you tell
Yes.
our audience what Kanun is?
So Kanun is the Kanun itself. We have just at the beginning. I have to say there are actually three main types of the Kanun, but the most prominent one is the one which has its influence from the area of northern Albania and western Kosovo. So the part I live from, it's called the Kanun of Dugazin, or sometimes even most of the time actually Kanun of Lake Dugazin. The Kanun is a set of rules by which the people sticks for the most of the time, and of course, it has lost its former grip to the social structures of the people out there. But it is one of the greatest influencers of the culture back in my home region and even beyond that. So also in central Kosovo, but western Kosovo and basically all of North Albania. So everything on the east of Lake Shkodra is actually influenced by it. Even the term, it means regulation. It means it is from a ancient Greek origin. The name. So kanun. There is even the English word canon. It is not canonic. It is not. It is not standardized. There is no norm. If you say that it is not canonic or it is canonic, there is a norm, a law by it. So yeah, that's the thing with the Kanun. It is abundance of rules and norms by which people in this area live by. It is actually it is also certain historical tribes stick to it. So it is not a thing for every tribe, but it is for 12 of the northern Albanian tribes, so to say, the bigger ones. And it's a form to standardize norms and rules throughout the entire region. So it's like in Germany, you don't want to go to every city and have a different rule. You kind of want to have it a bit more standardized. So we saw it during Corona. Standardizing is a good thing.
Yeah, true. I agree. Yeah. And you mentioned those rules, and you mentioned this tribe Dukajini, right?
No,
like a broader term.
now the Dugagini is actually the region. So Dugagini is it's east of Shkodra.
Mm-hmm.
And it is in the western part of Kosovo. So Peja, Jakova, Prizren, and all the valley in there. It is the Dugagin region.
Mm-hmm.
There is no Dugagin tribe, but there are the tribes of Dugagin, so called sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. And this set of rules, is as you said, is standardized. So every tribe in this region follows this set of rules. Or this third one, as you mentioned, out of those three types of Kanun laws, right?
Yeah. The thing. There is three kinds of Kanun because there are so like it is 3 times the same logic, the same set of values. Yet there are some local variants of it. So the other Kanun, there is one which is used in Middle Albania, and there is also one which is not so known about, but even in the south, now in the border area to Greece, there was also a set of canonic rules, but they disappeared at some point earlier than in northern Albanian society, and in our part it was more vital, and the influence of it is still can be shown as today. I never imagined back in my beginning of my studies that actually the Kanun would have influence in my professional life back in Kosovo. So it influences a lot of stuff, and it is the spectrum, the aspects of life which it is affect. It is basically most like 80-90% of your life. It can affect it if you, of course, if you use it. Not that it does now, but it can affect it because it is that widespread and that way also thought. It is derived into 12 books, but this is actually the written version, because the law itself, it is an oral law. Therefore, it is told from generation to generation, and this form it is also kept. Of course, it has its minor changes throughout the history, be it outer indication or just because of the need, and when technology advances, also the jurisdiction has to be compatible with it, and therefore it changed through time. So yeah, that is the Kanun. It is a widespread thought that it is actually written by the Lekë Dugagin, the Lord of Dugagin. Probably he has not something to do with this writing, more of its implementation of a brighter use of it in his realm, because the roots of it trace its origin further back. And as I said, it is divided in 12 books, so to say, or capital, if you want to call it in a more simplified way. And it begins with, for example, capital with a book of church. Yeah, the chapter of church, I think. So it begins the one very interesting thing about the Kanun is it is actually a secular law, which is not very common for a law of its
traditional.
No, because the thing is, so the first book is called the Church, but it actually regulates the clerency. It doesn't specify which church, which belief. It's just the church. And the thing is, it is the part where it explains what are the rights, what are the privileges of the church, what is to be considered realm of the church, and how to behave in there, what can you do, what can you not do, what is punishable, what is not very likely seen there, things like that.
So basically, no matter the religion, Islam, Catholicism.
No, it is even though, as I said, it is a capital of church. It was firstly so to say, designed. I would not say designed. It was firstly implied to the rule of the Catholic Church at the beginning. Yet during the back then the church, well, there was no Catholic Church back then, but after the Great Schism, the same rules applied actually to every kind of church, no matter if that has been Catholic or Orthodox. And it is actually partially how I would say how Northern Albanians think of, let's say, the mosque. It's like they treat it like in the same category because it's a kind of an universal law to stick by in terms of
It's a place
clemency.
of God. It's so it no matter which team it is.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it begins with that, and then it expands to marriage, the chapter of marriage, the chapter of family, and then my favorite, the chapter of property, the chapter of which has then, of course, it has its under chapters where it expands like a net to every aspect. It is actually called livestock, property, and land. So to be more universal. Then is the chapter of testament. What happens after you die with your property, as mentioned in the previous chapter. And so it goes. Yeah. There is a law actually how you transfer goods to each other. Even how to gift something, there are some norms, not to rules, but there are some norms how it should be done in the best manner, so to say, for the region. And yeah, so it goes on and on for all of the 12. And the last one is, of course, the chapter of exceptions. Yeah, okay. There is a special chapter in which case there allowed to be an exception from the rule.
Like there's a rules, but there's also a rule to how to not follow the rule. Perfect.
Yeah, there is always the, as you would say in German, the Sonderfall.
Yeah, exception case. Yeah, exactly. As it says. Yeah, got it. So can you give some example? What are the exceptions, if you know?
Well, so what are some of the exceptions? Let me think of a good one. I think this sticks to the chapter of exceptions. For example, if you want to let's say divide the property among former owners of it. If it was, for example, 2 or 3 families who owned something, they overgrow it and now they want to separate to build up their own families. And there are, let's say, this one case I heard of, for usually if they have a common building, like I don't know the word in English, the place where the mill. If you have a mill, so the milk usually has to be provided to all of the 3 families who build it, or for example, if there were 3, all of 3 of them had the right to remain users of it. Of course, they had to divide it in which days who will use it, who will take the profit out of it, and so on and on and on. And well, there is one exception. If one of the there has been a debate among the owners. For example, one generation of you did not use the mill at all, or they didn't contribute to its renovation or keeping it in work. Then 2 of the other owners can say like, yeah, well, you didn't contribute to it that long, therefore you lost your claim to it. There is an exception for that. Yeah, okay, he didn't contribute to it, but did he take any profit of it? No. Well, then he still has the right to take his fair part in it. Did he take profit from it during the time? Did he use its services, or because mills back then had a economic meaning. Just to understand, so we are always talking the context of time. Did he take something out of it during that time and did not yet contribute anything into this maintenance of the building? Yes. Well, sorry, you lost your claim. That's one of the cases of which I have heard, which are pretty specific. Of course, there are. The Kanun itself does not describe, may not have a law which is says this strict example. The thing is, it delivers you the main concept of it. So how things are settled, and then you have to have somebody who is experienced in that to actually make a proper interpretation of that specific law.
Yeah, like a judge or something, right?
Yeah, that actually existed pretty much in Kosovo. It still exists. There are some people who do that, not very often, but there is. It's like an oldest, an elderly,
local elder.
of a brighter family, of older people who have that kind of experience, who have seen these cases and can judge more objectively about the case. So you don't take the judge out of your own family. You get somebody who lives like 50 kilometers away from your village and who has no relation to your actual family to settle the case.
Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah.
Yeah, quite interesting. So as I understood it, so it's kind of like it's a folk thing that dates who knows when, maybe to time Illyrians, who knows? You're not aware how old it is?
There are theses about it. Yet it is let's stay factual in that manner. So we cannot definitely say when was it established first as a norm, its usage. Yet there is, for example, the oldest written evidence of it. It's not the Kanun itself. It is a report to the Republic of Venice from the local. At some point in the Middle Ages, the Venetians had a big portion of what is now Albania and Montenegro under their rule. So they had from Herceg Novi till Durrës, they had a large portion of the land, which is also some part of the people there follow the Kanun. And they had this report sent to Venice, where they had to, in the parliament of the Dogentum, actually not the parliament, but kind of similar, they had to discuss if the society back there in Venetian Albania can use the Kanun instead of the Venetian jurisdiction system, because it fits the people better. And it was a pretty long debate apparently back there, and that's one of the earliest written forms of the evidence of it. So it was not written itself, but it was written a report on should we ban it, should we allow it, should we incorporate it in our own laws, because back then societies worked like that. Even the Ottoman Empire, for example, they did not have the jurisdiction implemented in many parts in the Balkans. So people had their own set of rules, so to say, autonomous in means of their settling their jurisdictional problems.
True.
And back in the North Albanian area, it was actually always in use. There was no other jurisdiction which could work out for the people.
Yeah, we can relate to one of the episodes about Ottoman heritage with Mirko Dutovic. We can find some link here. We're going to publish it. He talked about in the Ottoman period that there was like sort of dromocracy, which means drum, Turkish expression for a road, that as long as there are roads, main roads, the law and the state exist there. The moment there is no road, everything else is left to the locals, more or less, as long as they pay taxes or at least connected to some extent to the ones on the road. So it's...
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, it is like that. But also, one thing which has not to be forgotten: during the Ottoman time, the Christian millets correct me if my history lessons have left me alone at this point.
We learned
They
also from
had
this episode.
Sorry.
We also learned from this previous episode.
So yeah, the Christian millets actually had a lot of some of them, not all of them. Some of them had self governance in some way, since the Ottoman Empire actually used the existing infrastructure, at least for taxes. They use it very well. The existing churches which were in the region. Why build your own when you can just take over the old one and use it in the same way? And so also in jurisdiction it worked for some people that way but there have been some moments, especially in the 18th especially in the 18th century, where the Ottomans tried to implement Ottoman rule, not on jurisdiction, not the Kanun. Yet there is a letter from one of the Ottoman army officials back there, and he asked for permission to the Sublime Porte if he could use the Kanun to settling down some problems with the locals out there, because there apparently, he said, like it's like talking to a wall. They have their own and they're gonna stick to it. So can we just do it that way? Because apparently they are not aware or don't want to be aware of any other kind of law.
Yeah, but I'm curious. Like, when did it start being subsidized, not subsidized, replaced by the standard continental law system? Like, as probably today, it's not part of the legal system in Kosovo, in Albania, right?
No, it is not part of it. Well, it began. That's a tricky question, because after the declaration of the Kingdom of Albania by King Zog, he did one of the campaigns to at least get it out of the main stage in the northern region. With little out success. Back then, in the period of King Zog, he wrote a new constitution. The constitution was back then pretty modern, actually. It was based on the influences of the Italian and the Swiss constitution. He take a role model. Of course, he incorporated some local characteristics inside the constitute, but it didn't really make it through. Some people accepted it that way, and some not. During the communism in Albania, it was pretty much backed down. So after the World War II, it was replaced with the new state law. But in Kosovo, on the other hand, it remained pretty much alive. The reason for that is, well, we are not known for liking
following rule. Yeah,
not only that, but also we like to be the judges of our own society, of our own members. So what happens inside our group back then was more or less considered to be, well, problem of that kind of group. Therefore, it stayed much more alive, and it also has a bound to the tradition. If you bound to the Kanun, you are still a traditional person. You go on the steps of your ancestors, so to say. So it is not only the jurisdiction part alone, but it's a certain feeling following it along. Nowadays, what has state of the Kanun mostly is, for example, the rules for the testament after the head of a family dies, and how the property has to be separated between the children. I don't know what's going to happen to me, because that jurisdiction is very against me, since the youngest brother takes a house and not the oldest one, and I'm the oldest one, so I have to get out of there.
By Kanun,
let's
right?
see. What?
By Kanun law or
By Kanun law, the youngest one takes the house.
You need to
And
build
actually,
it by
the
yourself.
main what?
You need to build it by yourself, I guess. That's the thing with the older one.
Yeah, the older one has more time to preparate for life and stuff. So they say like, "Are you okay? You are toughed out. You can do it on your own." The youngest one, we like him that much. He gets the house. He
It's
gets
very
the house.
supportive, actually.
Oh yeah, very supportive. If you're not the youngest, it's great.
Well,
it's
I'm
great.
the youngest in the family.
That's why he likes it. Yeah.
Well, debate with your family, and maybe you can get something out. Let's try something new.
Yeah.
Ask them to follow Kanun laws in Turkey.
Yeah, well, the rule was back then. It was more of a thing. So this kind of rule, it was a rule implemented mainly during the period of the late Middle Ages till the 18th century. This kind of rule was developed, and the oldest brother got something else, which at that time meant not only an emotional thing, but it was also pretty expensive to buy those things back then. He got the weaponry of the house, so he had to took all the weapons, and the younger brother had to acquire them itself. Apparently, a sword back then was pretty costly.
So I guess with the sword you go and you fight your way to get a house, or you make your house.
Yeah. Let's hope he doesn't use it against his younger brother. Then that would be a shame.
Game of Thrones. Then it's Game of Thrones all over.
Yeah.
But do you have any time in nowadays, especially in Western Kosovo, I don't know about North Albania, maybe you know, the clashes between the modern legal system and the Kanuns, and what happens in the end? Like one says one, and one says the other thing.
Well, one says the other says the other, but in the end of the day, the states are constituted in that manner that, you cannot fight against them at this stage. You're going to find little support in making the uprisings to get your way. So therefore, you have to stick to state law. There is no way other than that. But considering the amount of laws and norms Kanun has itself, there are also many cases where it actually can it gets along pretty well. Let's say, as I mentioned before, it influenced even my professional life back in Kosovo. It has many laws for the rights of a landowner. Borders, a pretty important chapter, actually, under chapter in the chapter of property.
In the Balkans, especially the borders is like the key word for everything. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing. Yeah, well,
micro
the
level,
thing with
macro level in both cases, between neighbors, houses, and also country-wise. It's the same.
I personally set borders.
Yeah.
So I cannot like them, and if there was no border, I would have no job, and I have to be then something else. And I kind of like what I do now, so let's keep the borders.
To remind our guests, you're geodesian. How do you say it in English?
Surveyor.
Surveyor.
In English, it would be a surveyor. Yeah.
But in our languages, the Balkans is geodesia, something like that. So
yeah.
People will know when we mention this. But please continue about the borders.
Everybody at some point in their life have to deal with Office of Cadastre. So in the Balkans, of course, and also in Germany, but the percentage of homeowners here is much lower. So in the Balkans, everybody has to deal with it. We are not the most liked institution, but they cannot get around us.
True.
No, the thing is, it was one of my first cases when I went out staking out borders. We saw that there was some problem with the data which the municipality provided to us. And
in Kosovo, right?
Yeah, in Kosovo, it was in the municipality of Decan, I think. Yeah, around that area. And the thing is, like, okay, how can you prove if it's right or not if that is what the municipality gave you? So usually if you take something from the local government, you have to stick to it as it is true. You don't question it. Well, there is one way in Kosovo to question it. Old boundaries are pretty specifically marked. So there is a 1 meter to 120 big stone, which you can see half out of the earth. And believe me, that thing is so massive, you don't get around it. So there is little to no chance that it moved in the last, let's say, 100, 120, no matter when it was put in there. And it is punishable if you move such a stone. You go check it up with your GPS device. Okay, is my current border adding up to this border or not? If not, well, check your data back then. There might be some minor problem with the data, and then you get a transformation. Boom! Oh, now it sticks everything. So it helped a lot actually if you had some points of reference which do not move at all, or at least are not supposed to move. There are like I think there are like 10 rules in that section which describe how you set a border, how you keep a border, and who has to witness it. So,
so meaning when these borders, so meaning when you say borders between farms, meadows, whatever, it was not the same. The things were not matching with the data from municipality, but you go there and check. There's a stone which is based on Kanun law, and then you see and you compare and you say, actually we're gonna correct it now because in the field the Kanun sticks to the reality.
It would be really dishonorable if you move at any point such a stone. So it's it is actually also punishable. Back then there was a fee about it.
Yeah, for audience to know, in Kanun, for audience to know, not the legal system of the country.
No. Well, actually, yes. In any country, if you move a border, it is illegal.
But the stone itself, I mean, still.
But it's a crime I almost was guilty of myself as a child. I saw that big rock and thought to myself, like, why don't I dig it out? Until somebody saw me, like, what are you doing there?
You're playing with your life, kiddo.
No, it's like it was a village conference about that.
Oh, really?
Nah, just kidding. I mean, like. No, he just explained like, "Hey, it's a kid, but don't touch it."
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, I get it, but it's So again, this set of laws only applies in nowadays. So not officially, unofficially, with tribal systems. You cannot separate tribal system in Albanian communities with Kanun. It goes together. So, and as I saw a map, and for our audience, please correct me if I'm wrong. The modern Albanian tribes. Are like in North Albania, West Kosovo, and East parts of Montenegro. The rest of Albanian world in the Balkans are not so much so in the tribal system. But again, sorry for not to say one thing more. The tribes, when we mention, are not like tribe like Native Americans in US. No, that's like family communities in that sense. Yeah, somebody gets offended. Trust me when I said to some Albanians, "So which tribe you are?" Hey, we're not like Indians. Like, not I didn't meant like that. So.
Nah, it's it is a different thing. It is not like the one portrayed in movies about Indians, of course. That map is to some degree it is accurate, although there are let's call it tribal territory which are outside of this area. And you most commonly can get that through the last name of the surname of the people who live there. So you encounter somebody with my last name. Well, with my last name, you're going to pretty much encounter there anywhere, but mainly in some regions where they have always settled. It's going to be more dominant in these regions, and you can see, okay, that was back then at some point a tribal area, so to say, a territory of that specific tribes. But also there are many territories which are not tribal. There are people from any tribe or any surname in that matter who live in the same place. My village, for example, we have like their members of 4 different former historical tribes who live in the same settlement. So there was, in many parts, there was no strict border or something. That is more a thing of some areas, mainly in central Albania.
Mm-hmm. But they, meaning again with the Kanun, like it's followed by people that are more adherent to the tribal system, or like there's a lot of people living in east part of Kosovo, but they have origin from some tribe, but they're not so like into it deep in a daily lives or whatever. They say, I am part of this one, but like it's not affecting their daily life as it is like in western part of Kosovo, I guess, right?
Yeah, the impact of being in such a community, it has decreased in the western part also. There is some boundary to it, of course, but yeah, for example, the western part of Kosovo always had all of our trade routes go well through the mountains of northern Albania and then to the coast of cities like Durrës, Leja. Well, that is also the road to Dubrovnik, back then Ragusa. That is also the same road, and there are some pretty old roads which then kept the people pretty much together in a sense. But then in the eastern part of Kosovo, of course, you have it is a more flat. It's a bit more flat area. It is more communication. What?
More communication.
Also more communication.
Frequent. They move around. So they don't stick to their mountainous area. They just
Basically, I live actually in the biggest valley in Kosovo, which is the Dugačin Valley, which is much bigger than any other flat area. Yet the mountains are 30 kilometers away, so it's kind of on the doorstep. We consider it like whenever you want to go there, it's 2,000-meter mountains up there. You can see it from your house. You see the peaks. So that's
how this
that's
area is called by the Serbs. This Dukagjini Valley in west.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the Metohija part.
I think it's a Greek term actually. It means land of the church or something like that.
Metoh was, I think it was like, don't get me wrong. For our audience, please write in the comments. Something to do with a priest and the land of a priest of a church. So that's like because of that valley has a lot of monasteries and stuff. So I guess that's why. So.
That is a thing. Most of the oldest cities actually the oldest old cities in Kosovo are actually from either the far western part of Kosovo. You have Peja, you have Prizren, which are very old settlements, by the way. And then you have on the western part also, it's around Pristina. It was also very early inhabited, because whenever there is a river, there's going to be people. It's basically that, and wherever there is a flat land you can farm, well, there's going to be spread settlements along. And there are some historical monasteries and churches in both parts, but the ones in the west are more prominent, so to say, in that manner. Funny enough, the thing is, if you read the first chapter of the Kanun about the ownings, rights, privileges of the church, you're going to see there something like the jurisdiction of the Kanun actually doesn't. As I said, it is secular in most of its meaning. It doesn't actually have a greater sense of giving properties out to churches. So, as it has been a law for the common people, also for royalty, but mostly for the common people, it only says like, you have to honor the church, the God of house of God. Do not harm it. Do not burn it. Do not attack it at any point. Do not carry weapons. well, the priest says it anyways, don't to carry weapons, but unless the Kanun said it, nobody will stick to it. And so yeah, these kind of things. And if you ask like the Kanun, like, okay, what is the owning of a church? They say like, yeah, whatever is in this four walls, so to say, of its proper of the proper church, not very outside of it. And there, the church also has some degree of rights to the cemeteries. But there are actually most of the cases there are family cemeteries, not church owned or mosque owned or something like that. But they have also some privileges over there because they have to make the upkeeping of stuff like that. So the gifting of land to churches, it's not a very common thing in our cultures. Like there are actually people who could use that land more better in our sense.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the most important for me now is when you explain quite a lot about the Kanun and stuff, how much people follow it nowadays. As I understood, you are the one that like the follower, the adherent of this Kanun set of laws.
Follower, well, it would be a pretty strict life if I did follow it through.
So you're cherry picking, huh?
I'm guilty of that crime. Cherry picking is a good thing sometimes. Well, follower the Kanun in that sense, but there is actually, I don't think there is somebody who strictly follows it, because in today's society there is no need for that. Yet what people follow are some basic values of it. For example, we have, which is also a chapter, guests. The welcoming culture is actually pretty based on it. Yeah, and it is there are rules in there. For example, your house belongs to God and your guest. So if a guest comes, it's actually his house for the meantime he's there. There is no right to get somebody out or something like that. God, I don't think that God makes that many visits in northern Albania, but well,
God has forsaken some areas there.
It's very similar to Islamic culture, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
hospitality.
It is that is a thing for many cultures, as I have get it right. So here in Germany, you encounter a lot of people from many countries, and for example, even Islamic countries or Latin America, for example, they also have some a very welcoming, great welcoming culture. So it is not only one thing for us or something, but it is a widespread thing. Yet there are some exceptions. Let's say the special part about it in our side is like, well, if a guest comes around, you have to protect him. You're not allowed to say like I don't want to get in trouble. There is no option about it. Yeah, there is no option about it. Like things like that, they differ than back then. Maybe there's also other cultures which do that, but I know for sure that this thing, if somebody comes at your door house and seeks asylum, seeks refugee in your home, you're not allowed to say no. Either or there is a law in the book in the chapter of exceptions, but I don't know about that. Pretty sure there is no law that can allow that. So basically, you're not allowed to get somebody without help out there. There have been cases. There have been cases of this where it has proven to be a difficult time. In times of war, many people want to take shelter in your home, and there have been cases where former foes, knowing that tradition, like went to one's house and wanted refugee.
Mm.
Like, imagine there is a bunch of people out there from the region and who don't want you around, and you get into one of the tribesmen houses, and the tribesman like, I'm sorry, but now he's in my house. So, like, if you want to get to him, you have to go through me first, and
Mm.
which is kind of ironic because he's a former foe, or
Yeah.
is still one.
It's still one, yeah.
Is still once, but he took refuge. You cannot deny that.
Mm. He took his chance. People know the system and they use it against
Yeah.
themselves.
I'm not sure how good I'm doing by explaining this.
No, I know you're
Yeah.
you're trying to be political correct. I mean, you're wanting to name somebody. You avoid it. I hear it. Yeah, I understand, because who would be in the war at that time? Other Turks or Serbs or I don't know, Nazis in the World War II. So some of those groups were coming to Albania home and seeking refuge, and and it saved
The
their
most
heads in the end.
No, the most prominent case, not foes, but just regular people of it, was during the World War II. It was Jewish families.
Ah, I heard.
Yeah.
Mhm. But those were not the
So
foes. So
no foes with them because, well, there is no reason for there. We had actually no reason ever to hate somebody about the religion because we have all of them
true.
back home. So
Yeah.
there is no concept in that, and we basically don't never do that.
Mm.
And the Jewish families, it was I read it that only 2 countries in Europe had an increased number of Jewish population after World War II than before that. So it's Albania and Denmark
Yeah.
who had higher numbers. Well, there were not many Jews before that in Albania, so any Jew would take an account.
Also in Denmark, so less a hassle, but still you manage with that lesser numbers. Good. Yeah, I heard you're
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, highest percentage of people saved by the from the Holocaust was in Albania and in Denmark. You're correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That thing is actually there are 3 things I love about Albanian culture is this level of hospitality. I've experienced in basically every nation's home in the Balkans. I was lucky enough also in Turkey, and as Onat said, they're mostly similar. Also in Serbia, people are really hospitable and they really love you at home. But when I was in Kosovo, in Pristina, and my friend's house with her family, as Latifi, I'll mention her and her wonderful family. I never felt such a level of hospitality ever in the Balkans anywhere. And it's as you said, I kind of feel like I don't know, like I was. The animals that are protected because they're going to be
Endangered.
extinct. Yeah, endangered, like an endangered species. I need to protect him by all costs, whatever he does. Like we're going to your region, Peja, with my Serbian plates. They say, please don't go with those ones. Change some other ones in that region. Not go anywhere else, but not this region. Like, why not? I'm okay with it. No, please. Anything else? Like there was a scratch on my car. Like, hey, we need to change this because it was before you came or afterwards. It was actually during my period in Kosovo. Was like, no, it was before. Just leave it, please. And that's the thing that I like really the most from my experience, the hospitality and that level of like being protected by all costs and being spoiled as well. And the second one is the Besa. I think it's connected, kind of like it's kind of when you get
It's chapter. It's a chapter.
Whole chapter for itself as Besa.
Yeah.
Could you explain for our audience what Besa is?
So yeah, Besa is it's a pledge. How much is your worth? How much worth is your word? Besa, it is a pledge to somebody that you will do something or not do something based on what they wanted from you, and that you have to keep to stick to it. It is a concept which is still very prominent in Albanian culture. That is also not different in any region. Besa is a holy thing, basically, and that's one of the main concepts, one of the most influential concepts of the Kanun, of the laws. If your Besa is broken, let's say it's like a bank rating. You are not anymore a AAA rating.
Now I get the clear picture. But does it happen that really something bad to you afterwards from your community? Are you like banished or like punished or it's just
well,
curse
it depends. the Besa, to break the Besa, there will be some social punishment at some point. Anyhow, there will be some. Yeah. Now, of course, there is a big variety of words you gave to people, of pledges you made. Like, if you promise somebody, I'm not going to park there to take their spot, that's a different thing than saying to somebody, I will protect you with my life. So therefore, there are also different social punishments for that. I don't know the term in English. In German, it would be you could, if you did something really bad, if you break your Besa, you would become abgestoßener. I don't know the
oath breaker.
Oath breaker. Yeah.
I guess.
It's like you're an oath breaker, and nobody wants to do something with an oath breaker. Be it marriage between their families, be it trade, buy stuff from them, selling them land, anything. So even that. So in any way, you're going to be punished by somehow to that. It will come back to you later. Believe me, people will remember if you broke your oath in a critical situation to somebody. It's like it's gonna be like 3 generations after, like, oh, his granddaddy broke his Besa. That.
Oh, really? It sticks to the generation.
Oh yeah,
generations.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you have to, if you do something like that, you have to take into consideration that it's not going to stick only to you. It's going to be the 3 next generations. And do you want to do that to your grandchildren? Probably not. If they want to live in the same area as they did for generations. So therefore, you have to be careful about that thing. Of course, that kind of tradition now is being reduced day to day, but it still has its remains pretty much in everyday life. And there are many cases where people just come to you, want something for you, like, oh well, come on, I want you, Besa, for that you will do this for me, even if you gave it to him, even if it's unfortunate for you or it is negative for you. Well, you have to do it. Otherwise, everybody's going to find out that you are an oath breaker.
So you cannot decline when somebody asks something from you and says, "Can you give me your Besa?" You say, "No, I don't want to give you my Besa."
Well, no, there is
I don't gonna give it.
the possibility to decline. Well, like, you can't just go there tell people, like, yeah, well, give me your Besa, you will leave this land by now, and I will take your farm. That's not how it works. That would be too easy, huh? No, it's it depends. If it's in times of a crisis, let's say mainly times of war, which are for the Balkans in general not very rare.
It's like a regular Sunday, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, it keeps the news entertaining, and even the intermediate conflicts. And so, well, in these cases, you should definitely give your Besa to somebody, but it can also be that somebody doesn't even want your Besa or doesn't acquire it, but you gave it to them just because you want to do it for them. It's a very, if I remember the right English words, it's a very altruistic behavior from time to time. Yeah, there is one thing which is sometimes misunderstood, but it is one law which is pretty interesting in this time, because this thing, this kind of idea just arrived in Europe 5-6 years ago. It really got introduced. We have a law which allows, in the Kanun, there is a law which allows women who want to become a man, they can actually become a man.
I know. It exists also in Montenegro. We want to make a special episode about this. We call them in Montenegro, virgine. It's anglicized. I don't know for what reason, or maybe it's Latin for virgin. So you have it in Kanun, right? This thing.
Yeah,
So it's
it
really
is.
progress. Can you explain to our audience? I know, but from your point of view, I would like to know.
So, well, if for some reason a girl or a woman, it depends on the age of the definition back in the Balkans, so decides for some reason to become a man. She wants to become a man. Like, if she has no brothers and her family has nobody to give their property after death, it's like, okay, I'm going to be inherited of it. Or if you are, let's say, if you're left alone in the meaning that there is no male companion out there in your family, you do that. Sometimes some girls just like, they didn't want it to be girls. Like I like the guns, I like the cigars, I like the stuff. So like, Dad, can I be a man? And well, most in that kind of requirement, most Albanian men in the northern Albanian Kosovo would just like, well, want to be a man? Let's take you to the chieftain's council. And there's a council. Well, they give you it's a hearing, like a public hearing. They're like, okay, why you want to be a man? You have no male in your home. Okay, you want to be, well, this is back a long time ago, so no misconception here. You want to bury arms with you anytime? Well, yeah. Now you are a man. They give you a man name mostly, and you can be part of the family council or tribal council or clan council in that smaller sense. And yeah, so you become practically a man. You have a right for everything was a man, and you are accepted as one by the society. They have no right to question you after that. If the council, which usually never declines such a requirement, they never declined that. So you can become one. Some woman did it just back then. Well, I'm not made for marriage life, so this sounds a bit more fun.
Yeah. I mean, I read about this. There are a lot of parallels between tribes in North Albania, Kosovo, and Slavic or Serbia, Montenegrin tribes in Montenegro. One of them is this thing about women becoming a man. And I read about it quite recently, and they're not so many nowadays. It's really like an old thing. Now it's present thing. Now you can go and do a sex change, and then you become have another gender. But the thing is, back then, it was also interesting for me. So I knew it existed, but never understood the relationship with other people in the society. So for instance, what was interesting for me, so they became a man. They dress like a man. They have a man name, but they're called Virgina because of they should be virgins, not have any companions. They should avoid having this male companions. So be just virgins all their lives and protect the family, be the man in the house, so to say, as you also said. But it was also interesting the relationship now with women, with other women, which are still women, so to say. They were like looking on top of them, like above from them, like there's despising other women. So Virginia were looking at some regular woman and just like, look at you and stuff, you know. It's just like, now I'm better than you. I'm accepted by guys, and it was a patriarchal community, so the guys are more important. So kind of like although women didn't have many rights, now suddenly she overnight received more rights than other women just because she is now a man, so to say. So basically, in order to have rights and to become a man, that was quite a tough one. And the other women were also like staying away from those Virginas because I never thought about this. I only thought about like, okay, the relationship between them and other main part of the community. But yeah.
What if they change their mind?
You have to think this pretty much through.
Very handsome guy, and they say, "Oh shit, I didn't think this was possible in our village." And
no, I read there were also some cases of them sleeping with some men, and if they found out, they were ostracized. So meaning they were set out from the tribe, both of them, and women and also men. So both of this Virginia and this potential men. So they should not do it, but there were cases, yeah. If somebody knows, please write down some other case.
Or you should be very good at hiding it. So one or the other, it should work out. But well, just like nowadays, if you want to switch genders, you should think it through before.
Yeah.
So
At
it's
least
like,
there should be like a 30 days return fee, right?
Well, for nowadays, it takes a really long time because you take pills and stuff and all process
Yeah.
of psychology. Back then, as he said, you just go in front of a council. They usually say yes, and then voila,
yeah,
overnight, you did the transfer. Enjoy.
yeah,
Yeah. Coming back to Besa, I can give you one example from my experience when I used the Besa for myself, but didn't use it in a bad way. Use it in a good way. So
okay,
again, talk about my friend Elza Latifi. So I want to promote her again and her lovely family. So she has a dog, a husky, and he has quite a big fur. It was summer, so it has a lot of fur and hair all around all the garden. So we were driving him in a car, my car, but there was a blanket. So he was lying on the blanket, getting out and coming back. But still, even when you take out the blanket, there was some leftovers from his fur. And as I told you before, we were renting some other car to go to Peja region, and I left the car there. And her mother asked me, "So I'm gonna clean it." I was like, "Please don't do it. It's Elsa's dog. She's gonna clean it. It's her thing. When we come back, she's gonna clean it. Don't do it." "No, I'm gonna do it. Please give me your best. You're not gonna do it." And she said, "Okay, I'll give you my best. I won't do it. Promise." "Okay, I believe you." Okay, then we went there for a few days. We came back. I checked my car. It was clean. I was like, "This is impossible." And then I asked, "So you cleaned the car?" And she was just smiling a bit. I was like, "But you broke your Besa. You gave me Besa. You're gonna clean it." "I didn't clean it, but then who did it? I mean, I gave Besa, but my son didn't. Shkodran did it, so Shkodran cleaned it." I was like, so she found a loophole, so she do it around and she used her son. Is this allowed in Kanun? Exception again.
well, let's
Chapter 12.
say it this way. Please give me the name and address there. I have to report this.
That's a new case, huh?
Well,
Well, at
it's
least
gonna
it
be
is an
solved very quickly.
investigation.
Yeah,
Donut.
I mean,
At
it
least
is
it is an investigation.
Under investigation, yeah.
yeah,
Please,
of
Lekë.
course. There is one thing which is actually not worth mentioning, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So if you say something, your word has to have some weight on it. You have to stick to your own, keep it real, and it is in
She's
the
from
same
east
logic.
part of Kosovo, so less Kanun there.
Yeah,
But you said Besa is across Albanian multiverse.
actually, yeah, it is. It is like that. Some take it more serious. They should all do. If you say something, you should stick to it. For example, I did something. Now looking back at it, incredibly stupid, but I did it and I pledged to it, and I will continue with it because I said it. 7 years ago, I refused to eat stew with beans. Yeah, okay.
You didn't
So
eat for 7 years.
7 years ago, I was refusing to eat bean stew, and I told my mother that. She was like, "Well, there is no other option. Eat it or let it. That's going to be it for this meal." And I refused, and I did it with pledging, so to say, giving my word to my mother, and that I will never eat it again. And we all know how many options of bean stew there are in the Balkans. It was a hard time to be actually true, but I gave my word and I will not touch it ever again. So I was like, one time I was accidentally almost doing it. In Germany, there was some kind of bean stew. Is like, oh, I'm gonna go hungry now. So yeah,
So
it depends. It depends on the person.
So you're still sticking to it until the rest of your life, I guess, since you gave your best.
But if nobody knows, I will know it. And I will not go to the I will not go to the tribal chief and say to him like, I broke my oath I gave to myself. Self-report is not a thing for me.
So meaning
The Kanun is watching.
Just kidding.
Like,
I
God
mean,
is watching.
it was a silly thing back then, but I stayed true to it. At least tried.
Yeah, got it. But nevertheless, this is a also amazing part of the Kanun and following it and having this. It's not the same level of as oath as anybody else would give in Serbia, Bosnia, some other part of the Balkans. This level of oath. Also, when I try to explain to other of my friends, especially from Serbia, what Besa means, it's like oath but on steroids. Like it's above it. You cannot reverse it. It's just really hard. It's just you don't do it. If you give it, you stick to it, and that's it. And she says, but
Yeah.
what if you break it? Don't think about it. And that's what I said. Don't think about breaking it. I don't know what's going on. And now you told me like you just get ostracized from society, and plus it goes to your future generations, so you fuck them up as well. So
yeah. It's pretty harsh, I would say.
Really harsh, but I like this. Yeah, when you combine a group of people and you want to do something and you give Besa, so you know you can count on them that you're gonna do this no matter what. If you fail collectively, but nevertheless, you know that if somebody breaks it, yeah, no matter that he's gonna be in a bad condition, but he will not break it, most likely. Yeah.
Well, it is even it is even worse for the guy who breaks it, especially if you know if the other parts of the group know where he lives. Therefore, yeah, you should definitely stick to it at any given point. And don't think of just making out excuses. Excuses are not a thing. So excuses back home are like it's a sign of failure. Excuse even that it's counterproductive for us to make excuses. People will tell you like no, I don't want excuses, like just do it.
For the first time I hear something easier in Islam, because in Islam you are like, if you break your promise, your oath, you have to do like 40 days fasting for God for forgiveness, and it's okay.
So you thought that Islam was harsh, and now you hear the Albanian social Kanun laws, and then no, man, this is way harder.
Yeah, there is no easy mode on being Albanian. Well, if you consider it that way, the start is, if you start in the Balkans, you're anyway have it hard, but in some parts it's on legendary mode, the game called life.
The third thing I like also about Albanian culture is the thing that not people are aware of this, is the thing that no matter of your religion, the still of being Albanian and this culture and Kanun and stuff is above this. So that's why you have Albanians, Muslims, Catholics, Orthodox, Bektashi, maybe Jews, as you said as well. I didn't know about this, but in the Balkans, the moment you switch the religion, you switch the team.
Yeah, there is. Our home team is like always the same. Like as you said, it actually doesn't matter. I remember one family in my nearby village. They are the same offspring, so to say, of the same father. So two of the brothers are actually Muslim, and one is Catholic for some reason.
Okay.
So one of them is Catholic, and they stick together like always, like all brothers do. And they never made a big bubble. And inter-religious marriages are also well, like normal marriages. There is no problem to that. Yeah, of course, it's. I mean, it is a value of a family which keeps the people together. And in the end of the day, let's say it's so, profits come and go, but we stay. So therefore, we don't make a big fuzz out of it in any manner.
Yeah, you mentioned family. That's actually the fourth thing I also admired. What you noticed is that, especially for the Albanians abroad, you really stick together more than any other Balkan people. I mean, the level. I mean, we also stick together, but to level of being organized, in legal and illegal stuff as well in both cases. So it's really an admirable achievement.
Yeah, it is. I mean, in times of need, in times of in any case, actually, who is going to be the closest to you? It's going to be always your family, and we stick to it. And it is also part of the Kanun. It's actually, I think, chapter 4 is family. How to keep your family together, what your obligations to your relatives, etc., etc., etc. And yeah, this is a thing we commonly share. If it's even out of the canonic region, and it is pretty similar. For example, which I could determine to some manner, it is pretty similar with Italians. They also have a pretty considerably kind of same way of sticking together in their families.
But you're not so much mama's boys as Italians.
No, we are not mama's boys, but we get the Italians. I mean, yeah, it's and to be honest, the cooking there in Italia, it makes them really dependent on their mother, so therefore it makes sense. There is I didn't know much back in my youth about the value of family until I had one occasion. I was in a studying trip for university to Tirana in Albania, and I unfortunately spent all my money in the 2 first days. And at this point, I had to call one of my family members. It was not my father. I called actually my uncle. I was like, "Can you get me out of there?" It's like he didn't respond. No message back. Nothing. 3 hours later, there is a local Albanian number out there calling me on my phone. Okay. It's like, who is that? It's like, hey, it's a relative. Like, what relative? Like, it doesn't matter. It is too long to explain on the phone. Anyways, what's your problem? Like, well, my problem is I run out of. Well, who told you first? He's like, yeah, your uncle told me anyway. He said, get him out of there, whatever he did, like even if it's ridiculous, try to get him out. If he did something stupid, get him a lawyer if needed. Just deal with him. It's like I spent all of my money, like I had to get out of wed for this. Yeah, I'm sorry, like dude, with this is family privileges, don't overuse them. Like I didn't even call for them. Like it is in the family package. You get it. You want it or not? It's just like came there. Yeah, apparently I had a premium. I didn't know. I don't know how much a subscription cost until somebody calls me for a favor. And there have not been that many by now. But as you grow older, people gonna call you for stuff, and whatever it means. And comes like, just give me your address and I will pay for. You have any bills left? Or I was like, yeah, I have one hotel bill here, for example, which could be taken care of. Like, no problem, I will just come over. Actually, think I tried to contact him when I was back in Kosovo to repay him, and I did. He just responded by message like, don't tell me you're broke again. As no, I'm back in Pristina. I want to repay. It's like, no, come on. It's on the family. And it turns out that guy was related to me. Wow, man, it was a pretty far away relation, and he never wanted even his money back. He was like, just come visit us at some point. It's going to be enough. So the other relatives can know you too. Well, okay. Apparently, this family thing has some good perks.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't happen in Germany for sure.
Oh no, no. And the thing is also for the nature of the families is that they are so widespread throughout, especially Europe, but not only Europe. There are many places which they help you out. If it's now in Germany, of course, everybody has like 20 relatives in Germany if you're from the Balkans or from Turkey. But also in other places, it's like there's going to be you're going to find somebody who will help you out there.
True. Onat is like this with Turks. It's like this for the Serbs and other Balkan people, but not to such extent. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's also saying like that, like Serbs. Some families are close, some families are not. It's just really depends on the people, not something happening all the time. But for example, when I come to Hamburg, my mom called like, "Okay, my my cousins' grandfathers lives there. Go visit them because they're family." How they're family? But for them, it is their family, and if I go there, they will welcome, of course. Come here. It will be like that. But I'm not sure if I need money.
That's premium package.
I'm not
you
sure.
Don't have the premium package, so
yeah, I guess
you have the bronze one.
I need to check that first.
You have the basic one. Yeah, the free version.
Only food.
Only food included. That still works.
That is the free trail, man.
Yeah, it's always included. But yeah, again, like this whole thing, you open my eyes. I knew actually people, I can say from my surrounding in Serbia, for instance, and other ex-Yugoslav countries, they pretty much know those things about Albanians from Kosovo. Don't know much about Albanians in Albania. But to such extent as you share right now, like the Kanun law, what is it? What is based on? How many adherents it has? Besa, all those things combined in the tribal system and the council or whatever, tribal council, everything told together. It's kind of like vague. Maybe the local Serbs in Kosovo knows about it, but me personally don't have any relatives. I have some, roots from Novo Brdo. It's a Greek root, but centuries ago. But nevertheless, it's fascinating, and I hope people will like it.
It's. I mean, if you get into contact with us, if you live, for example, in the borderland, of course, some people are going to know, but it is a pretty specific law, which. But I very interesting. It is being now. It is being known more and more of it, and there is a wider spread knowledge about it in also in Western Europe, which is fun because the first publishing of the Kanun as a codex book, it was only 1 year later published in Italian, and then I think 4 years later it was also published in German. So it got translated actually pretty early, but of course, of people, anthropologues, and people who were of that field who are more interested, and now it has become more known. It's, let's say it this way: it is the canonic law. They succeed mostly, but at some points they just can't try because there is no connection between them. But between how would I explain it? To make a connection between what is justice and what is right. So there is but at least for us, where there is a difference between these two things. So what is justice is not always what is right, and what is right is not always what is justice. But the Kanun tries to stick to that middle, have a common for both, and so nobody gets let's say scammed over.
Okay, good. So just to repeat if it's needed. So this whole system sounds really fair. And what also find is really fascinating, when I heard the first thing about Kanun Codex, I heard it relatively recently, didn't know about it, but from behavior of Kosovo Albanians, now it all makes sense. It's based on that, more or less. But do the people know it by heart, like all those 12 chapters? Or now there are books, do all the people read them? Or at least do they know at least the basics, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, nowadays it is not that much read. Although actually, there is at some point in his in literature class, or was it in history class? It is like a thing to teachers give it to you to read, because it's a way of understanding the current development of the values of our people. So therefore we have to we read it through, because if you cannot understand the root of why you're doing something, well, that's pretty bad. You just don't do something without reason, or just for the sake of it. So yeah, some people still agree, but the thing, there is also one other thing. So I don't know how much you know about the differences between now Standard Albanian and the old Albanian, which is now for sometimes for people who just been raised by Standard Albanian. It is also sometimes it feels a bit hard to learn it in the language it was written, in the dialect it was written. It sounds a bit harsh because there's a big difference. I think newer generations is going to have a bit of a problem with that. Me for myself, not, because, well, I don't speak actually Standard Albanian. I speak the dialect.
Right.
Yeah, I speak Gek.
And the standard one is Tosk, right, from
Yeah.
Central and South Albania, but it's standardized. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that is most likely the most of the language is based now on that. And or for example, I had this. I have an amazing book back home. It's not mine yet. It's my father's. Yet.
So your brother's gonna inherit it, or you?
I think that one he will give me. It is a book. It's one of the first publishing of a book called the Mountain Laut. Mountain Laut. I think the Lahut you are also used by Slavic people, no? That one stringed instrument.
With lauta, but I think lauta is the one that you blow.
No, not that one. So you get this concept.
Gusle. We call it gusle. I know what you mean. Yeah.
I think I heard the term before. So in Albanian it's Lahut, and the Highlanders Lahut is a set of old songs about which are not actually that long ago. It's in the beginning of the ending of the 19th century, the beginning of the 20th century, about the war that broke out back then. It is an epos written by an Albanian priest, the Peja. I have one of the first editions of it. Somehow it landed on my grandfather's hand, and he got it.
It's
for what?
Is it Shote? The song. Shote.
No, there is no. There is no song in it.
Aha, okay, sorry. Okay.
No, it's called Mountain Laut because it is usually epic tales of northern tradition are usually sung together with the sound of a laut.
Okay.
So it is tradition to sing with a laut. You can sing these epos, but they're actually telling a story. There is for one of the first songs, I think there is a song about it, but it lasts 36 minutes. So Pink Floyd has no match on that. I mean, it's a book where you can actually read. You don't have to play the laut in the background.
Good that you mentioned this band. It's Onat's band. So
what?
It's his band, his favorite band. Yeah.
I like Pink Floyd a lot, but man, this epos, it's I don't know what happens if somebody publishes an album of the whole book. It's gonna be a banger, especially if there is a metal version of it. It's gonna be a banger. There is one metal version of one of the songs, pretty good. And the thing is,
you can share the link. Yeah. If there's one.
Oh yeah. The thing is, it is written on the old style of the dialect, so it's gonna sound pretty hard for somebody. When I took it back to school when we were reading it, and I give it to one of my colleagues, he was like, "Dude, dude, what is that? Dude,
I
where
speak with
did you
that in my
got this?
village.
It's like, dude, did you break into the ark? Did you steal it from a temple? It looks very old because
Very archaic.
it's from 23, I think it's the publishing year of it. So it is not a white paper, it's a brownish paper, which was used back
Okay.
then. And it's like, dude, which museum did you broke in? What language is this? What's happening in here?
Yeah.
And yeah, but I managed to actually finish it in the older version of the dialect, because languages evolve the whole time. It's
Yeah,
not a
of
new
course.
thing.
Did you explain it afterwards? What did you read?
Oh well, it was the first song. It starts. There is a small island in the lake of Shkodra,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the beginning of the story. It begins with a plunder. There is a base point in that
Island.
in that island. Yeah, in that island,
Mm-hmm.
and it begins with a plunder. So the first song is actually translated. It would mean something like riders.
Mm-hmm.
It evolves then throughout the epic. It catches many themes.
Mm-hmm.
It has also, which is interesting, it has a foe, of course. It has a main foe. It has a united cause. It has many stuff which is similar to other epochs. It is widespread. It is more than a century is a collection of it, because it's explaining a process of what happened. Many historical figures can be found in that, because it's not a fiction. It is how the priests and the at that time, based in Shkodra, which was the fighting area most of the time.
Sorry, for audience to know, it's a Skadar Lake for some audience that don't know Shkodra Lake. Okay, you can continue, please.
Oh, thanks. It's the protagonists are known people of their time, or people who just had to be known in that particular song. It continues on and on and on until the end of war, and there is there is also a part where it talks about the conclusion. How the people what is the profit of it all, what was the cause of it all, what was the ending of it, what was the meaning of all this half a century of violence. In that manner, it tries to explain, and it tries also to explain like what has to be remembered, what has, because the author also explains like there is a message after every happening. There is, let's say, there is a meaning behind it. It doesn't say it loudly, but you have to get it.
What was the point? Yeah.
Yeah, what was the point of it all? If there was no point, well, why were you doing it even?
Wasting time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. To be honest, again, when you comprise everything what you said about Kanun Codex, it also reminds me to some extent, it's a far off comparison, but Bushido Codex in Japan. But it's really strictly militaristic, but still it's kind of like a societal thing. It's not part of the legal part. I don't know how much people follow it in Japan. If somebody knows, please write us in the comment. But it's kind of like that thing. Not many nations have those type of unwritten, which is now written, but before it was like oral thing that people should adhere and follow. But it's kind of like Albanian Bushido Codex, but less militaristic.
Just for clarification, I have a Japanese roommate in my flat share here.
Wow.
And well, part of the reason he went out of Japan was not only because the subway was too crowded. It was also because too many rules, and then he ends up with a person like me
in Germany.
In Germany, yeah. It's like, dude,
perfect combination.
Yeah, You just run out of luck.
Please, then you can try to compare Kanun with Bushido if he knows something about it.
We are not. If we punish somebody, we're not going to cut his little finger off. That's for sure. That's more. That's a Japanese thing. But as I have spoken to him about it, and it has great similarities. But considering how old the genesis of the Kanun itself is, it only makes sense because throughout the history, people, they mainly developed in some same way throughout the lands. So the needs actually were kind of common, and the most logical approach were also pretty common. So the basic ideas of it kind of stick together. What is the difference now between what we have now as a law? It is, there has been a cultural revolution in Europe. Well, there has been a lot of them, especially in France. That place is not going to be
stop anytime soon with revolutions.
Oh no! It's like it's a national sport.
Right. You're correct, but no guillotines.
Less fun. Well, for now, it's the only place I saw. I saw a 10-meter meat grill for the rioters.
No, I saw it.
I was amazed.
They put it on the tracks for a tram, and they push it, and they turn their hamburgers, and they protest. So practical, and they push it down the rails.
We you know that we at Deutsche Bahn have right now our Betriebsrat, not Betriebsrat, Gewerkschaft. The working council right now has a debate with the Deutsche Bahn because we are from our working council is the EVG, and you know that we had some issues about it. I feel a much more hated man since then because only one day the trains stopped. Imagine what we can do with 1 week. Let this be a warning. I want my 12% that I want it now.
Today, give to the DB people 12% off.
They're going to get an agreement, of course, and so we just to understand the spirit, the revolutionary spirit of a French person. We have one guy back in our office. Is like. One of the agreements between those, it exposed there was no agreement. They couldn't get along. It's like, so guys, the headquarters of the DB company, like, is there some way to find out their address? Like, what? Dude, what is it? No, just asking, like, is it banned by law to not post their addresses? Like, dude, you're joking right now. No, it's like, just asking. Turns out one of my other colleagues told me like the French people back in the 70s kidnapped the head of a company, of a state-owned company, to actually get their payments raised. It's like
did it work?
That's a very efficient way to negotiate, actually.
Yes, I mean,
we're not giving anyone ideas, just saying how it went.
Yeah, and I'm not going to post a link on how they did it and how they did get away from it with it. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, but you said to your colleague, please take your baguette and chill down. It's not France.
Well, his baguette is also his weapon, so I don't know. Don't take his baguette.
But nevertheless, in our hopefully, we diverted from the topic right now, but nevertheless, coming back to Kanun again and Bushido, you said there are a lot of connections, but it's again separate codex, and in the Balkans, there's not such thing as that any other nation has this type of social codex of behavior, which was oral. Now it's written, and I found it fascinating. This was an amazing episode for me. I don't have any more questions, to be honest, besides one, actually. Since you're coming from Peja region, is the Peja or Pecko pivo or Peja beer still good?
Well, let's put it this way.
Tough question.
Every time I drink a beer, a Pilsner in Germany, is like, nah, it's not the same. I miss the Peja beer. It's actually it's getting it was always good, but it's still good. It will remain good. The second constant to the Northern Albanian society, the beer of Peja, and yeah.
Is it in Kanun as well?
It's not in the Kanun, but well, there might be a new edition.
Maybe a 13th chapter regarding the
But-
beer.
And who knows? If I would write it, there would be some laws about the taste of alcohol in general, not only beer.
No.
Not everything can be called Rakija.
We support you full. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Germans have their law from the 11th or 10th century of pureness of beer,
Yeah.
and some stick to it. But to be honest, it doesn't taste so good. Maybe back then it was okay, and the water was different. Everything was different. Less GMO. Yeah, it should be adapted.
It's a Bavarian Reinheitsgebot.
Okay, yeah.
In Turkey as well, the Rakı has a law about its definition, how it is made, some regulations as well. Like it is defined by law.
Oh, nice. I don't think about Rakija there's any law. I mean, there's like unwritten law how you should make it, but and there's like chemical engineers. I don't know, the professionals. Please, again, write in the comments if you don't want to say anything wrong. Some people that are specialized in making alcohol, they know how to make it, but in a sense of law, there's a law like not to make it too many liters on your own, but I don't know whom follows this, to be honest. Yeah.
Don't be blind.
I mean, like,
don't be blind.
Somebody who lives way too near to the police station. The thing is, and if she sees this podcast, she will notice that thing. Last week I drank a rakia from Croatia, from the Dalmatian part of Croatia, and that made me think of, well, there should be some trademark protection.
Was it from plum or was it from grape?
It was mixed with wine. I don't know what it's. Yeah, it was pretty weird. It was a tourist thing actually. What she got there, but
yeah. No. If it's like 40% alcohol based on wine, then it is in Istria, part of Croatia. It's called Teranino. So if you drank this thing, then it's okay. It's all like Porto, but like our version of Rakija there.
Yeah, don't promise me rakia and bring me that stuff just in case. I mean, like, I grew up with the plums and the grape one, so let's stick to the traditional.
Yeah. Got it. But about Peja again, Peja or Pecko pivo or Peja beer. So the thing is, it was so famous on an audience in Yugoslavia to such extent that people even nowadays, I know my father, some older people as well, they say, "Ooh, I'm wondering if Pecko pivo or Peja beer is still good as it was." Like they all like have this, I don't know, some romanticizing of taste of it and still remember it. So from my generation, you don't know what he's talking about. But when I went to Kosovo and Albania and tried it, it was good. I guess it was better when you tried it there in Peja because it was, I don't know, it was good. Yeah, from my experience.
If you are lucky enough, maybe you can get into one of these tourist groups who get into the factory itself, make it beer tasting, and apparently all the people that went inside there, when they come out, it's like they gave us some special beer, dude, that was out of this world. Like I will never taste beer again the same.
You see,
the premium of the premium one. Apparently, they have some stuff going on there, which is not in mass production because would be too costly. And who will pay in the Balkan €6 for a beer? I mean, let's be honest.
Well,
if there is
the inflation, we're getting there, willingly or not.
Well, there is always, no matter what happened to the currency, people in Kosovo find a way to beat it. They just like, what is the most safe currency right now? Japanese yen. Okay, that's our currency now.
Japanese yen
I don't care.
In Kosovo,
yeah, it's like, well, we are practical people. We don't care about it. If it saves us our own money, like I want to, in the same day, I want to buy the same amount of stuff with my money. At least that is a minimum requirement.
Yeah.
And if needed, well, we will switch currencies. no big problem.
Practical solution. Yeah. Onat, something from your side?
No, actually, we covered all.
Mm.
Thank you, Lekë, for joining.
Thank you, Lekë. I try again my best. Sorry, I really try. I don't. Also with my name, I don't like when people call me Dusan because I'm Dusan. I'm the guy that takes shower in Germany because of douche, and also douchebags, depending who you ask. But yeah, thank you once more. It was really insightful. I learned quite a lot. Hopefully, our audience did as well. Onat, hope you as well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I wish you all the best in your profession, and both with sticking to the Kanun and spreading the word of Kanun. I really would like to read all the chapters. Maybe the philosophy there could be used in everyday life. Yeah, why not?
Thank you, Dushan, Onat, for having me over first. It was a pleasure. It was a very interesting podcast. After all, it was, and yeah, the word will be spread. And if you want, you can be a follower of it. Since now, only $12.99 per month, and you can be part of this amazing thing. I will send you the books right after.
Great.
Yeah, we will put the links below so you can register.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of that, as you said, you can be my followers and stuff. Since you look kind of like Jesus, it kind of works your way. I mean, helps you a lot for our audience to know.
Yeah, I mean, my two creations by now have caused a bit of problems here and there, and I will. Well, maybe the Kanun is the right solution after all.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. For our audience, also, if they have some question, they can find you on some social media and ask you something more about Kanun. Yeah, why not? Or write us in the chat and you can answer if you have the time. So, yeah, not to be forced upon you if you have the time. So, yeah, as you said, to spread the word about Kanun and Albanian culture. Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah. And, of course, for our lovely audience, the hate comments, if they come, we don't care. Yeah, write whatever you want. I mean, nobody will pay attention. Be in your small room, do some hate thing, and yeah, enjoy your miserable lives. But our audience that are really good, please come again and enjoy, spread the word about our show. And we like to have you next episode. And as Onat usually says, click, like, share, subscribe, everything if possible. And yeah, that's it. If that was all.
Lekë, you want to say something?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's also on my side. I just want to add to it that hate comments or hate comments, but sometimes they are pretty funny. So I will look at them. I might get some comedy gold out of there, which not even David Chappelle can bring up at his shows. And why not translate them to German and give this country some culture back?
Yeah. Not a bad idea. Always there's a chance. Always look on life on the bright side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always look life on the bright side, I guess. Yeah. I butchered the expression. Yeah. That one.
Understandable.
Thank you once more, Lekë. Dankeschön. Faleminderit. And
Until
next time.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.